Okay, so we've got a few things to test here. The main thing I would like to test is pathing for the AI. We've got like a second version of the nav mesh system in place. I've moved this AI spawner. I just moved it for testing reasons, but the shadow's still over here. As you see, I haven't rebaked the lighting since then. That's why that shadow is there and this is over here. So yes, one of the things we kind of wanted to have was give the player the option of completely blocking off the map with tower bases or towers. And we wanted to see if that was possible with the AI and see if the AI could figure a way through. And yes, the AI can work out. I had to do some additional kind of checks in the AI behavior, but it's pretty good now. I think it works pretty well. The only odd behavior is that I'll set it up. So if I build cannon towers along this whole thing, here. So here they've all got. There's no collider for me, but they all have the nav mesh obstacle, which essentially creates a collider for AI nav meshes, which is our enemy type. So the enemy see these as obstacles. So in theory, there's no path from this to the core down there. But we can run checks if the AI doesn't find a path to the core, because the core is its main goal. So we can say, if you can't find a path to that, or a complete path to that, then look for a path to something else. So what I tell it to do is look for a path towards what should be the nearest turret. However, it doesn't always seem to work that way. So I'll show you kind of what happens here. So I'll spawn a wave. And as you can see, AI kind of comes along. And bam, he goes to the other end. It's a bit weird. But yes, so what happens there is they find a turret, and then when they kind of get close enough to it, the turret is destroyed. Turrets can only be destroyed if there's no path available. So the problem I was finding initially on the first few tests I was running of this secondary script was that if I had the turrets being available to be damaged and destroyed at all times, then nav meshes would slowly kind of chip away because they cut corners. Because nav mesh agents tend to drift quite a bit and they'll cut corners because they're kind of smart and dynamic. But it means if towers can always be killed via collision, which is what we do. So if a nav mesh agent hits the tower, then that tower just disappears and gets destroyed. Then the new path is created. So what the AI agents would do is keep cutting corners, which meant they would just keep destroying towers on the edge and the edge and the edge. So that wasn't ideal. So when they check for if a path is available, then you can't destroy a turret, and the AIs just bounce off of them. And that's kind of what happens. So if I just build a couple of cannons, like so, and then spawn a wave. So they should path around this quite well. You can see they kind of path around it, even though they are kind of hitting the trigger boxes. Yeah, that's happening. Let's see if we can stop the path. So they still have a path at the moment. There we go. Yeah, let's get a little bit smart to it. There's repathing. And then if I build a cannon, so the path is now closed. I think I spawned two waves there, but never mind. They'll come around, and they kind of see what I mean about drifting. Yeah, so they'll take out a tower or two. Once the AIs have figured out that they've got a new path, they can no longer destroy towers. Yeah, and then it kind of works along. So that's kind of how it's working at the moment. My next step in terms of tower building is to figure out if we can build a grid system, so we don't have to have like hundreds of these hollow towers in the game at the same time. If we can just have a basic grid system where you kind of look at a spot and then you say yes, build a tower block there, and then it just builds a base which acts like a wall, but you can also build towers on top of them. You know, that would be the ideal goal, and that's kind of where that was kind of the major reason behind trying to figure out if AIs could do what we wanted them to do, which was repath, and if they can't find a path to the goal, can they figure out a path to another goal, which they can. So they still path fairly correctly. I don't know why they always end up on the one side of the map and not on the other. I still haven't figured out why that's the case. In theory, they should always go to the nearest tower. That doesn't seem to be happening, so I need to figure that out. Figure out how it's getting from A to B. If I can figure it out, great. If not, I'm not too worried about it because they're still achieving their goals, but it just looks a little bit weird at times. But yeah, so that's the advanced pathing.